all he does. He's always been a guy that has great hands, and you can't have enough of those guys, particularly when the Lions don't have Calvin Johnson anymore. The bailout guy, just throw it up, hope he comes down with it. You're not throwing the ball up, per se, to Anquan Boldin, but you're throwing it near him, and, he'll just snag it. And, a guy last year, he caught 69 passes for almost 800 yards. He's not going to be counted on to be the go-to guy, the number one guy in this team. That's Golden Tate's role, okay? Marvin Jones, they signed him as a free agent. I'm thinking that's probably the number two guy. Boldin can come in kind of under the radar and be a big-time contributor for this team and really help them out. I think if they're able to sign him, I think it'd be great.
It begs the question, why is he still available? He's 35. He's definitely not what he was. But to have 69 catches last year for an offense in San Francisco that had quarterback problems is still pretty impressive. Again, you go to the expectation for him, it's to be a number 3.
Well, on this team, he'd be a number 3, but keep also in mind that he's a year removed. He only had last year 789 yards receiving. Before that, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, including a year where he had 1,179 yards. He's been a very productive receiver throughout his career. The only thing that's changing is he's slowing down a little bit, but the hands are still there.
248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. We go to Andrew in Monroe. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, fellas.
Good.
For the sense that he's a stable guy. He's always going to put his hands on the ball. He's always going to catch it. He doesn't drop many passes. But even more than that, I love his veteran presence in the locker room. I feel like the more stability that we have with our personalities, especially losing a star receiver in Calvin Johnson, having a star, I guess I would qualify Boldin as a star in my opinion, a big name who's a respectable guy in the locker room, kind of taking that place, even if he's a number 3, I think that's huge for this team.
Well, you just talked about him, as a locker room presence. He just won the NFL Man of the Year, didn't he? Was it 2 years ago? Okay.
Last year, 2 years ago, but that shows the kind of guy that we need. And I know that we have that reputation of being, the bad boys and that tough team, and that's great. But that doesn't mean you can't have good guys on the squad still. That's really going to make an impact, especially on rookies.
2015 Walter Payton Man of the Year.
So it was last season. He a guy like that can't hurt. They didn't really draft anybody. They got Jay Bruce, the undrafted free agent out of Baylor.
Right, they didn't draft anybody.
Which I think could be a real find for them. But they seem to, you know what? It's hard to imagine that OTAs took place and that the Lions organization walked away going, we're good at wide receiver. Because we've seen them sign one, we've seen them go after another now. I mean, it seems pretty evident to me that they need some help. They think they need some help there. Well, here's something else to consider, too, is that there may be, Anquan Boldin's timing might work out well. Brashard Perryman is undergoing a procedure today in Baltimore for an ACL, and they think he might miss the entire season. If that's the case, Baltimore may want him back. So there could be another team. And if you're Anquan Boldin, I mean, I think, but unfortunately, it's probably an easy decision to go to Baltimore because you've been there, you've had success there, and that he not only is familiar with, he'd probably play a bigger role there. Now they've cleared that though. He had the procedure.
He said it's not a torn. They didn't see a tear, so because they use stem cells to repair it, so they think he's going to be okay.
They think he'll be able to play this season.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, if they do have that need, I would think he would go to Baltimore before he'd come to Detroit. Don't you?
Yeah, familiarity, sure. I would think so, but who knows? I don't know how serious the Lions are though about adding Anquan Boldin to the mix. I mean, it could come down to money.
Right.
If the Lions like, yeah, we'd love to have you here. How about $1 million a year? And he's like, yeah, you know what? No, because they're going to pay me like $3 million, so why would I do that?
Well, they've got money. They do have money. The free agent haul wasn't exactly, it didn't tax them, didn't push them up against the cap.
No, but there might be players that get released. You know how it works in
true.
Training camp that might be more fitting for this team.
Well, this is true. And if Anquan Boldin goes on to score a whole bunch of touchdowns, it'll be something more for the new cheerleaders to cheer about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get it in.
Well, I mean, who's the receiver they signed?
Marvin Jones?
No, the one they just signed a couple days ago.
Andre Roberts.
I'm not sure why you sign Andre Roberts if you're going to bring in Anquan Boldin. I mean, yeah, Roberts is younger by 8 years, I think, but it's not like he's lit up the NFL. And you're looking at proven track records. I mean, between the two guys, how do you not think of Boldin?
It is kind of unusual to hear a team signs player A at a position and then player B at the same position will visit. Because that's implying that there's a lot of need there. And I am I wrong here? When I look at this wide receiving core, I don't see a lot of need.
No, I didn't either. I thought that they had guys. When they acquired Marvin Jones, I thought, okay, all right, and they'll probably draft a receiver, which they didn't. But then they have the undrafted guy. I thought that was enough to go with the guys they're bringing back from the team anyway.
Additionally, there's a bit of a wild card in the Jeremy Curley guy they got from the Jets, who seems like he's one of these small, scat-back, freak show athlete kind of guys that's quicker than a hiccup and can make things happen on the field.
Quicker than the hiccup.
He's fast. Should I go with he takes a 4-3 shower?
Quicker than a hiccup's pretty good.
No, let's
I
go
like
with
that.
4-3 shower. He takes a 4-3 shower.
Okay.
But he just may be a kick returner when it's all said and done. But he strikes me as a guy that could make an impact this year.
Well, impacts can be made on special teams, which will help the team out. And I think they made some changes to this team with regards to special teams. It's overlooked, but it is a way you can improve yourself.
All right, there you go. As voted on by the listeners, you care more about Anquan Boldin visiting the Lions than cheerleaders.